Captain Bill. It's a pleasure to have you in the city.
Why, thank you. Did you folks order up this beautiful weather?
Not actually, but rain or shine, it's always a fine day when the North Star rises at our landers.
Thanks to folks like you, this fair city is well known for its warm hospitality. We know you'll do your best to make us feel right at home.
Well, that's mighty thoughtful of you to speak so kindly of us, Captain. If there's anything we can do, please let us know.
Well, a matter of fact, there is. One of my pilots is taken sick, and I'm looking for someone who knows the upper stretch of the river. Are you aware of anyone who could accommodate me?
I think we can help you out. A young fellow who lives in town just got his pilot's license, and I hear tell that he is mighty good.
I'd be obliged if you introduce me to this gentleman.
That won't take much doing, Captain Bill. He's right over there. Jed Wilson, do you have a moment to join us? Why, sure, I'd be glad to. Jed's not only the top-notch pilot, he's also a fine gentleman. Morning, Jed. I'd like to introduce you to Captain Bill. Morning, Captain. Pleased to meet you.
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Mr. Wilson.
We were just telling the captain what a fine river pilot you are. Well, I'd like to think so.
I suppose you know where Bend and Snag is from St. Louis Cove to Bismarck, North Dakota.
Give or take a few. I guess that's a pretty accurate assessment of my talents.
Can I safely assume that you've committed to memory where every snag is in the northern portion of this river? Don't want the North Star to run aground, or worse yet, even sunk.
Captain Bill, I must confess, I don't rightly know where every snag is located.
Well then, young man, how do you suppose you could serve on the finest vessel that ever went up the Mississippi?
It's quite simple, Captain. I might not know where all the snags are, but I do know where they are. And that's why I plan to put your vessel.
Young man, I like your style. You've got yourself a job.
And bought you a new pair of spectacles. Maybe now you'll be able to see where you're steering that big bathtub of yours. What do you mean, bathtub? Why, the North Star is the finest vessel that ever cruised the Mississippi. You mean the plowed down Mississippi, don't you? What exactly do you mean? What about 3 nights ago when you were steaming by Haley's Woodyard? Did you happen to hear a thud and a crunch? That was our raft you ran over. Maybe he don't own any glasses. Maybe he needs some help with his hearing too. Hey, what's that you're saying?
Did you folks ever think of keeping a lantern lit? How are we supposed to see your rafts at night?
That's not going to jeopardize you now. We came ourselves school. What in the world's going on here? Why, I've never seen such a bunch of yellow-bellied, chicken-livered, thumb-sucking tadpoles in all my born days. Why don't you all just grow up? How do you expect a buddy to make a living on this river with all this fighting and strife going on? This river's big enough for all of us, and if we all just work together and help each other, life will sure be a lot easier around here. Everybody gather around and hear me out. One day as I was rafting down the mighty Mississippi, a killer storm came whipping up and caused my raft to flip. I floundered in the water till a steamboat pulled aside. The pilot took me back to shore, then charged me for the ride. We're bound to ride the river around each bend. It's hard work and the long days never end. But if we all just work together through fair and stormy weather, we'll find that it's much easier as friends. How about the raftsman? Our work is never done. The raftsman has an heavy load. He works from dusk to dawn. Traveling the Mississippi can't even stop to yawn. No, life's not an easy road, as every raftsman knows. We put our best foot forward and step on our toes. We're bound to ride the river around each bend. It's hard work and the long days never end. But if we all just work together through fair and stormy weather, we'll find that it's much easier as friends. Aren't you forgetting something? You can't leave us out. Oh, how about the steamboat pilot? Him you can't ignore. 'Cause piloting a steamboat sure can be a heavy chore. It almost takes some muscle man to steer this mighty craft, like iron in the Mississippi, then crash into our raft. We're bound to ride the river around each bend. It's hard work and the long days never end. But if we all just work together through fair and stormy weather, we'll find that it's much easier as friends. We're bound to ride the river around each bend. It's hard work and the long days never end. But if we all just work together through fair and stormy weather, we'll find that it's much easier as friends. We sure have some difficult times when folks can't get along on the river, but for the most part, they were downright congenial. Did you have real special friends when you were growing up on the river, Uncle Jed? I don't rightly know what you mean. Why, Uncle Jed, you know what we mean? Well, if you're referring to a special friend of the female persuasion, I must confess, there's one little miss on the river that just turned my head.
Who was she, Uncle Jed? Tell us all about her.
Her name was Betty Sue, and she didn't have the biggest blue eyes and the prettiest golden